Hello viewers, my name is Niaz Arifin. Today I'm going to talk about integration with the GNS3 with the VMware and your physical PC. Now when we talk about integration between GNS3, VMware and the physical PC, we are talking about my physical PC can ping any of the GNS3 appliances inside the GNS3 network. Also, any of this virtual PC can ping the GNS3 inside network. For the last couple of weeks, I've been searching in the internet, in YouTube and some other platform how to integrate between the GNS3, the VMware and the physical PC. Some of Mr. David Bomble's video, he's talking about how to integrate the GNS3 with the internet and some of inside devices as well. He's also talking about GNS3 can reach to physical network as well, but I hardly find any videos that is talking about all these three platforms together. That means your physical PC can ping any of the appliances inside the GNS3. Also, all these VMware machines can ping any of these devices. Also, GNS3 machines can go to the internet. If I click YouTube, it says we're having trouble finding that site. That means it doesn't have an internet connection here. This is our LAN. We have to make sure all these appliances can go to the internet as well. I made a list of the requirements I'm going to show you. Now these are the requirements for this lab to make it a successful topology. We are going to use the NAT node, cloud node, configure the NAT overload configuration. We are going to understand the host-only network adapter for VMnet machines. We have to configure a routing protocol that could be EIGRP, OSPF, anything. And then we have to configure a standard access list configuration as well. We have to show a default route, telnet configuration. Also have to configure the domain name and a name server. Now, the reason for telnet, our physical PC can take control over the GNS3 appliances, means this two router. Also, from VMware, any of this machine can take control over the GNS3 appliances, this two router as well. Now here we have to understand where is the NAT node, where is the cloud node, where is the VMnet 1 host-only adapter. All the networks that I've been using here, this is not the QEMU emulator. If you want to know about the QEMU emulator, go to the GNS3 site. Mr. David Bumble made a tutorial on how to use the QEMU emulator. So here, the cloud node, all I have done, change symbol, classic, QEMU-guest. That's all I have done for this two cloud node. Again, these are not the QEMU emulator. Those are the cloud node. It could be cloud, it could be NAT. This is exactly the NAT. I just drag in and drop it here. But we need to see what type of VMnet adapter I used here for VMPC 1, VMPC 2, VMPC 3. So VMPC 1 is here and VMPC 2 is here. For VMPC 1, I'm using the VMnet 1 host-only adapter. For VMPC 2, I'm using the VMnet 2 host-only adapter. For route 1, first Ethernet 1x1 port, I will have the IP assigned from the DHCP server. Let's take a look where are all these adapters and from where all these IPs are coming from. If I go to my physical PC, where all those network adapters are, when you're going to install the VMware, you will have all the network adapter installed automatically. This is VMnet 1. The IP block is 192.168.209.1 and this is /24. That means class C mask. Exactly this IP block. For VMnet 2 host only adapter 192.168.127.1. It's also /24 C mask. Exactly this IP block. Let's take a look where are all those network adapter in the VMware. They all are VMware network adapters. Edit, virtual network editor. We all know that inside the VMware, we have different types of network adapter. We have VMnet 0 as the bridging mode. We have VMnet 1 as host-only network adapter. VMnet 2, host-only network adapter. And then we have the VMnet 8 as NAT. So for VMnet 1, our network block is 192.168.209.1 /24 subnet mask. The series is 192.168.209.0 in this side. So here, all these VMPC and GNS3 PC are using VMnet 1, this network. For this side, VMnet 2 host only adapter, we are using 192.168.127.0, the VMnet 2 host only adapter. Let's take a look. This is the VMnet 2 host only adapter. The IP block is 192.168.127.1. Also /24 network. Our maximum leasing time is 5 hours. So after 5 hours, all the IP that has been given by this DHCP server or VMnet 2 will be invalid. Okay, we have seen where are VMnet host only adapter, VMnet 2 host only adapters, what are their IP block. We have also seen where is that VMnet 8. Now I need to show you how to configure the cloud node. As I told you, this is a cloud node that I've been using for VMPC 1. This is VMPC 2. Let me show you how to configure that. You will click configure, click show a spatial Ethernet interface. The VMnet 1, this VMnet 1 should be here. And then you are going to click add. It will be here. It is not here because I have already taken that. It's the same here. Configure, show spatial Ethernet interfaces. The VMnet 2 should be here. It is not here because I've already taken that. And this is exactly that cable. You can see it says here VMnet network adapter VMnet 1. So when you are going to use this one, it will give you the option, this one. It's the same for here, VMware network adapter VMnet 2. We have to connect these interfaces with this VMnet 2. This is very important. Again, after you configure with VMnet 1, you have to make sure that the cable we are using, that should be VMnet 1. For here, VMnet 2. Alright, now let's go to the VMware. So for virtual machine 1, I'm using the VMnet 1 host only adapter, and we know that the host only adapter, this IP block. So what I can do here, if I go to ncpa.cpl, the network setting, properties, we have seen that we have a DHCP server. If I click obtain IP addresses automatically, it will going to take IPs from the DHCP server. IP config. You can see it has been assigned with the IP 192.168.209.3, but there is no default gateway. What we learned before, we have to have a default gateway if we are trying to go to a different network. So to make sure that I have a default gateway, this PC, all I have done, configuring them manually, but it's okay. We are still in the same network block and the same mask. I have already labeled them for our better understanding. So we are going to configure 192.168.209.3, and the gateway should be this one. Router 1's FA0x0 port. VM machine 1, it should be 3 here. 219.3/24 mask. Default gateway should be 192.168.209.4. Now here is something very important that I need to talk about. Make sure we have this clicked. Use this following DNS server address: 75.75.75.75. Alternative DNS server should be 75.75.76.76. Now why we are going to do this? Let's go to my physical PC's network adapter. I'm using a USB network adapter. This is my physical PC's network adapter. Details. You can see now IPv4 DNS server. This is my DNS server. This is the alternative server. So for my VM PCs, if I do not match with my physical PC's DNS server, VM PC may not reach out to the internet. Both for VM PC 1 and VM PC 2. That means here and here. We have to do this. If I go to command IP config, you can see I have a default gateway now, exactly what it says in this topology. Okay, for this side, for virtual machine 2, let's go to the virtual machine 2. This is virtual machine 2 setting. We are using the VMnet 2 host only adapter, and the network block is this one, 192.168.127.0. Let's configure our PC. You can see 127.2 is the IP address for this virtual PC, /24 is the mask, 127.5 is the gateway, ncpa.cpl. It has been configured manually. IPv4 properties. You can see it here. I've done it before. If I click obtain an IP address automatically, still it will be the VMnet2 host only adapter. PC will have its IP dynamically by the dynamic host control protocol or the DHCP. It will not have gateway. We don't want that. We need to have a gateway to get out of this network and to travel this network and other network as well. We are also using a network 2020.20.0 for this two interface, and for this interface we are going to use the NAT so that all these appliances can get out of this network and go to the internet. Now we'll move forward. We'll go to router 1 first. Administrator down. I will see what is the current configuration. Do show IP interface brief. There is no IP. I'm going to assign the IP first. Interface FA0x0 IP add 192.168.209.4 255.255.255.0 no shut. Interface FA1x0 IP add 20.20.20.1 255.255.255.0 no shut. Do show IP interface brief. Now we can see first Ethernet 0x0 has been assigned with 192.168.209.4, the VMnet host only adapters network. VMnet 1x0 has been assigned with the 20 network. Both ports are up. For router 1's first Ethernet 1x1 port, I'm using the NAT node. The NAT node means if I go to my physical pieces network adapter option, NAT node means VMnet 8. IP block for the VMnet 8 is 192.168.136.1. I'm going to add IPs from the DHCP server. Configure terminal. Interface FA1x1 IP add DHCP no shut. Do show IP interface brief. Now you can see first Ethernet 1x1, the IP has been assigned with 192.168.136.7. Method is DHCP, dynamic host control protocol. Port is up. Now what happened if I do not get the IPs from the DHCP? These VM PCs, that means the virtual machines, none of the virtual machines will heat up to the internet. Okay, now let's move on to the router 2. Before I make any changes, let's take a look what I have right now. Configure. I'm now in the global execution mode. Do show IP interface brief. None of the port has been assigned with any of the IPs. Let's configure that. Interface FA0x0 IP add 20.20.20.2 255.255.255.0 no shut. Interface FA1x0 IP add 192.168.127.5 255.255.255.0 no shut. Do show IP interface brief. First Ethernet port 0x0 has been assigned with 20.20.20.2. This one. This port 1x0 has been assigned with 192.168.127.5. that matches with my level. Okay. We also need to configure this GNS3 virtual PC. This is PC1. Show IP. The GNS3's virtual PCs are smart. It understands the site annotation. IP and I have to use the same network block 192.168. As I leveled here, I'm going to match this one 209.5. that is the /24. The gateway is 192, this one, because this is the port that we have to use to get out of this network and to travel another network. 168.209.4. oh, we don't need the add command here. Yes, it has been assigned. That means it should ping its gateway. You can see it's pinging. Let's go to the PC2. IP 192.168.127. Again, I'm going to match what I have been labeled. 10. 24. The gateway should be this one. 192 168.127.5. Okay, it has been assigned with our desired IP. Let's take a look if I can ping my gateway. Ping 192.168.127.5. Yes, it can ping. That means all this virtual PC can ping their gateway. Let's take a look. Go to virtual PC 1, go to the command prompt. Okay, ping 192.168.209.4. that is our gateway. Yes, it can ping its gateway. Let's take a look at virtual PC 2. Be able to ping its gateway. Ping 192.168.127.5. yes, it can ping its gateway. We have assigned all the IPs. All the devices can ping its gateway, but we are still not able to travel to different networks. So this network cannot travel to this network or even to that network. None of the devices can visit to different network. And the requirement for that, we have to configure a routing protocol. It could be either EIGRP, it could be OSPF, but I'm going to do OSPF here. Router 1 or router OSPF 1. Now we have to mention each and every network. Network 192.168.209.0. We have to use a wildcard mask here. It is just the opposite of your actual subnet mask. So my actual subnet mask is /24 255.255.255.0, which is 0.0.0.255, and we have to make sure they all are in the same area. The second network is this one. Now I have to mention this network. Alright, now here's something important. Some people, they just do mention only the connected interfaces. But if I'm going to add this network here, it is not going to make any problem. Network 192.168.127.0, 0.0.0.255, area 1. EX to show IP protocol. You can see now the OSPF protocol has been configured with OSPF 1. This is the network. This is the wildcard mask for every network. Area 1. They all are in the same area. Let's go to the router 2. To save the time, you know, I have already copied that. So not necessarily you have to do like this. I just copied all the network and I'm just gonna paste it over there. It is just gonna save the time. Yep, it's done. Let's take a look. Do show IP protocol. You can see OSPF 1 has been configured. This is the network with the same wildcard mask. Do show OSPF neighbor. This is our neighbor, which is this one. Let's take a look if we can ping each other. I'm at router 2 right now. So if OSPF has been done correctly, then I should be able to ping this or the VM machines, these VM machines, because it is in a different network. Let's ping that one. Do ping 192.168.209.5. Yes, I can ping. From here, I can ping this PC. Let's take a look if I can ping the VMPC 1, which is 3. Yes, I can ping. Let's go to router 1. It's the same way. I should be able to ping this virtual PC and the VMPC 2. Do ping 192.168.127.2. Yes, I can ping. If I can ping the virtual machine 2, obviously I can ping this one too. From router 2, I also need to make sure I can ping this interface as well. Do ping 192.168.136.7, which is this one, this port. Yes, I can ping those. So everybody can ping everybody now. VMware can ping inside the GNS3. From GNS3, I can go outside and ping my VM machines. Integration has been done between the GNS3 machine and inside GNS3 appliances. Let's take a look if my physical PC can ping the GNS3 appliances, and if my physical PC can ping the virtual machine as well, because we are talking about three different platforms: inside the GNS3, outside the GNS3, which is my physical PC, and the VMware. I'm going to my physical PC right now. I'm gonna run that as an administrator mode. I'm going to change the color C is red. I'm going to ping this gateway, ping 192.168.209.4. Yes, I can ping. So the integration between GNS3 and my physical PC has been established. VMnet 1, it's a different network than this one. So this machine can ping this machine. The IP for the VM machine 2 is 192.168.127.2. So I'm going to my virtual machine 1. This is virtual machine 1. Ping 192.168.127.2. Yes, I can ping. From virtual machine 2, I'm going to ping virtual machine 1. The IP for the virtual machine 1 is 192.168.209.3. Let's take a look. I'm going to virtual machine 2, ping 192.168.209.3. Yes, I can ping. Okay, now I'm going to configure telnet in router 1 and router 2 so that from virtual machines and from my physical PC I can take control over the routers. Router 1, I'm going to configure telnet in router 1's first Ethernet 0x0 port. Username John, password Cisco. If I want, I can do another username as well. Username Cynthia, password Cisco, enable secret Cisco, interface FA 0x0, line BTY 025, login local. That means whatever information this router 1 has inside the NVRAM, it will authenticate against this credential. Transport input. I can do all this, but I'm going to do telnet because the VM PC does not support SSH. So I'm going to do telnet. Let's take a look from VM PC if I can take control over the GNS3 appliances. Router 1, VM PC 2, telnet 192.168.209.4, Cynthia, password Cisco. Yes, I'm in the router's user execution mode right now. Enable password again Cisco. Yes, I took control over this router. I can make any changes from the VM machine here. Let's take a look if my physical PC can take control over the GNS3 inside appliances as well. Command, what I'm going to do, we'll run as administrator mode. Going to change the color. Okay. Telnet 192.168.209.4. Yes. Username, let's do John right now. Password Cisco. Yes, that means from my physical PC I can also make any changes to router 1. If I do configure telnet in router 2, my physical PC and the VMware can also take control over this router as well. Okay, now this is very important. We are going to configure the NAT configuration in the router 1's first Ethernet 1x1 port, because exactly in this port the translation is happening. For router 1, first Ethernet 0x0 and first Ethernet 1x0 is the inside network, and first Ethernet 1x1 is the outside network. Remember, anytime you add additional devices to your router inside the GNS3, make sure you configure the NAT to get the internet access to the edge router. Okay, let's go to router 1. Let's ping Google first. Do ping 8.8.8.8. Well, it can ping Google, but router 2 won't be able to ping Google. Do ping 8.8.8.8. No, it cannot ping the Google. Let's configure the NAT. Let's go to router 1, interface FA 1x1, IP NAT outside. interface. Now we are going to select multiple interfaces together, and for that the command will be range. Interface range fa 0 by 0 comma fa 1 by 0 IP net inside. Now exit out. IP net inside source list 1. Okay, interface fa this port 1 by 1 overload. Now we are going to use the standard access list. Access list 1 permit any and do show run. Now first Ethernet 0 by 0 and first Ethernet 1 by 0 is our inside network. These two are the inside network. And first Ethernet 1 by 1, this is the outside network. Now here is something important. Now with the overload command, I'm giving access to multiple devices. If I do not do overload, it will give access to one devices, not multiple. Now after creating the net overload and the standard access list, I'll go to the router 2 and I will create a default route. IP route 0.0.0.0 space 0.0.0.0. I'll show this port 20.20.20.1, and both in router 2 and router 1 I will create a domain name service and I will do IP domain lookup. IP domain lookup IP name server. I'll simply do Google. I'll do the same in router 1. IP domain lookup IP name server Google. Let's go to the router 2 and let's ping Google. To ping google.com. Yes, I can ping Google. That means if this two router can ping google.com, that means all this virtual machine will also be able to ping Google. Let's go to virtual machine 1 command ping google.com. Yes, I can ping Google from my virtual machine 1. Let's ping YouTube. Yes, I can also ping YouTube. So I should also be able to ping YouTube from virtual machine 2. Ping youtube.com. Yes, I can also ping YouTube. Let's go to Google Chrome. Let's type YouTube. Yes, I have the access to the internet now. Let's search my channel. Yes, I can go to my channel from the virtual machine 2. Let's go to the virtual machine 1. Let's fire up the Firefox. Let's go to Facebook. Yes, I'm in the internet now. I can go to the Facebook. Let's go to Google. Yes, I'm in the Google now. Let's go to the Linux Red Hat site. Yes, I have the access. I'm in the Linux Red Hat site now. Now each of the devices can ping each other inside the GNS3. They can also ping my virtual machines and also my physical machine.